welcome to another episode of Basic Job Tutorials. I'm Alan Oden.
And I'm Dalton and I.
And we're going to be starting a mini-series on GUIs.
Just for the fact that you can't cover them in a 20-minute period.
Yes. This episode, we're going to teach you kind of some of the back code, not all of it, obviously, but just a little sample of what it looks like behind the scenes. If we have time, we're going to go over some of the built-in GUI editor, but I think that for the majority of the series, we're going to be dealing with hard code because it's just easier to customize, in my opinion.
And even if you do then end up using a GUI builder, you know the backbone to it and how you can modify it yourself versus totally relying on something else, which is a big problem that a lot of people I've helped to do. Do you want me to go ahead and just start?
Sure, go ahead. Again, this is just... We made a new project for this. Whenever you start on something new, even if it's just for testing something, I would recommend testing it out in a new project just so you don't mess up your old one.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
Yes.
Alright, I'll start.
I'm just going to apologize now for the squeaking in the background.
There's mice, and mice will be mice. Okay, so we're going to get this started away if I do things.
Unextended.
Yeah, that's going to help. Let's just
we're going to start this off with swing components, so we're going to have this extend a JPEG.
JFrame.
JFrame? Oh yeah, sorry. I was skipping a step.
Okay. So again, we want to do a main because we want to deal with static. Static is very.
Yes, yeah, especially with some people because they build up static very rapidly.
Oh, shoot. Today, not gonna be good.
Copy paste is your friend.
I hate copy paste. I'm just kidding. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna want to take advantage of this, and I'm gonna put this right away because otherwise you're gonna.
If you forget it, you're gonna have a lot of resource wasting.
Not that I did it earlier or anything.
What this does is this makes it so that when you click the X up in the corner, it actually closes your program.
Versus keeping it running like in the background or something. Okay, so we're going to...
First off, we're just going to tell it, okay, I almost pointed to the screen, you can't see that. Up at the top here, it's got the title of whatever program you're running right now. It's fairly easy to set, kind of self-explanatory to set title. British keyboard, sorry.
No, I will never get used to it.
Two. There you go.
Oh, they flopped. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Now you're typing the right spot.
I'm just gonna type whatever I want.
We gotta get your laptop fixed.
Yeah, we do. My laptop actually broke this week. The battery went bad. This is a title. That seems appropriate, doesn't it?
It does. More appropriate would be Hello World. You know.
Okay. Well, this is okay. Now, this is the thing you're always gonna want to do. Last week we need to do it because what we're doing. Because set visible, and you're just gonna want to set obviously, and we'll run this just to show. And give a second. I've got to build because this is the first being run. Oh, here's up in the corner. As you can see, that's not very convenient. Whoa, it does actually work. Okay.
Now, this is going to look a little bit different than what yours is, mainly because my recording software switched it to a different color scheme. But don't worry about that; it'll look fine on your computers. Yeah, probably, unless you're using the same color scheme.
Okay, so obviously that size is an issue, and the location is kind of not good. So we are going to give it size first, and say
Lead speaker.
This
will make it a square. It's 300 by 300. Many Java applications tend to be 800 by 600. That's just a good size for most monitors. Minecraft defaults to 800, 600. I think Terraria does too, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't know if that's in Java or not. But that's just to give you an idea of what the size is.
Okay, and then so that set this size, set location relative to, and the reason I have it no is this means it will set it to. It's not going to be relative to any location, so it will be in the middle of your screen. So if we go ahead and just have two simple steps, let it run, and you should get something much more appealing.
Yep, there you go.
And of course, this is resizable and things like that. So then, we'll just keep trucking along as long as it's all going well.
Now, we don't want a lot of games stuff. You're not going to want the player to be able to change the size of the screen
Without an options menu.
without options. Yes,
Where
but
your code can actually handle it.
a lot of the times your elements you're adding to the screen are a set size, or scale them would make them look weird. So you're just going to want to handle it this way.
And obviously, it couldn't be easier. You just set resize it to false.
And depending on your layout, which we'll cover later,
Yes.
and some other factors, you could just go ahead and leave that be. But
And now, of course, it's still your same thing, but you're unable to resize it in any way. And now your images won't get stretched. It won't screw up anything else you have going on. And of course, then somewhere else, if you have options menu, if you're talking about a game or any type of software, that if you have a full screen option, you can have your code handle it, and then everything will run smoothly.
yes.
And I guess that's personal preference. Now, obviously, there's quite a few things. If you're just doing normal stuff, it doesn't matter.
Like, say, one of the programs we wrote before that factorializes something. If we were to turn that into a GUI, it wouldn't matter if you stretched out, really.
Like, it's not going to affect anything. But if you're a lot of times, if you're dealing with set objects, graphics, stuff like that you don't want stretched or messed with, that's the best way to do it. Alright, so now we're going to move on to something kind of fun. We're going to...
We gotta do something now. And I remember mentioning this before. I don't think we've done anything with that. Creating a new type of object. We went to it.
There we go, right there.
As you can see, I still have cool to do other projects right now.
Yeah, I'm not short many either. So
Yeah.
we're going to want to add another class, and we will call this... how about we call it GUI panel? We'll keep it the same naming, all caps for GUI.
Now, you don't have to make a new class. This is just showing you how you would do that. Now, there is already a panel object built into Swing, and that
I'll demonstrate that.
Okay.
We can go like this.
And while Dalton's writing that out, I'm gonna tell you a little about it. Panels are your main way, from my experience anyways, of adding objects to the scene or to the frame. And here is and stuff like most Java objects.
I'm not gonna do anything special with it. I'm gonna set the background.
Background, not back color.
Well, it's lowercase too.
Capital C. And then you've got an extra parentheses there.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it.
And just there you go. End line. Okay, and now this. Oh, we haven't added it yet. I almost messed up there.
All right, then obviously this is
for one. Now you want to actually add it to the screen. You need to do this add, or if you were creating some GUI frame somewhere else, you would say the name of that dot add, and then panel, because in this case it is named panel.
Yes.
Again, in real programs, you're going to want to be more descriptive than just panel, but
for simplicity sake, right now, this is good. Oh, see.
Yep, and there you go. It automatically defaults to full size.
Yes.
Now that happens mainly because we haven't set any layout yet.
Yep, so it's just going to fill the area that has this was resizable, it was stretched with it. There will be no issue, which I will show you right now. To prove simplicity's sake, again, this, that it is literally just a panel, which is yellow. Nothing more, and I guess nothing less, if you want to put it that way.
Well, it's equal to, so it can't really be anything else.
Well, yes.
Unless you defaults weird, but you know.
See? It's going to stretch as much as the bigger the screen gets.
Yeah. And bigger if you have a dual monitor.
Yeah. Whatever you're feeling.
Yes.
Whatever you're feeling. Okay. Now this can get into a big code. You get very.
Say you have 20 panels, and all start out the same. They all have to have a yellow background, all need the same layout, and all that type of stuff. It's going to take up a lot of space.
So there's a much easier way to do this because Java is just great. We can actually get rid of this here.
Oops, not that far.
I'm just happy today.
Just terrific.
Okay.
Now, right here, we're going to do the same thing we did before, except a little bit different. Extend a JPanel. This will make it so this class is a JPanel with some extra features.
Okay, so this is literally the same thing as before.
You want to save it first.
Alright, so if we go up right here, right?
You can put it up there, or you can leave it down in the code like before. My personal preference is to put everything up at the top in case you want to add other stuff here that you can reference it.
We'll name it the same thing.
And you can define it up here, but in bigger code, yeah, I recommend putting it down first.
Yes. Okay, and now obviously you're going to add the same object, and each will work just the same way.
Should, anyways. No, thing. Yep, there we go. Same as before.
Same as before, different. It's just instead of having those two lines, you can deal with everything in this single class.
It's modular.
Yes, exactly. You could do anything you wanted in here. You could add
polka dot, but that's a little more complicated.
Yeah,
so
that's
we're
just
not going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yet.
But this way, anything you put in here, it doesn't matter. You can do it if you're whatever. I know. I was just. Anyway, this way you can handle it all in this class versus handling it in that single one and getting a mess everywhere.
Okay, now I'm going to take over for a little bit.
Sounds good.
Okay, now I'm actually going to put this stuff in a little bit order than our show notes here. You're just going to decide what I'm going to do first. We to make a button. Now, in actual programs, buttons and labels and a lot of different things are going to be. But we're just going to do this to show you some of the different things you can add to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in a lot of cases, button or label can actually replace buttons, and is normally a lot easier. But a button is a button. We will.
A button is a button is a button is a button.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now, this is defined fairly similar to everything else, except we have an extra little thing. We want to tell it to actual writing on the button. And that's pretty simple there. Now, we don't want to add this button to the JFrame. We want to add it to the panel. So, in this case, we're going to do this.
Remember, you also go with the button in actual.
Yeah, you put it over here too, but just for so I don't have to flip forth and keep it over here. Okay, and now we add this. So just making sure I'm not missing anything.
Just add it. That's it.
Yep.
It's just going to set it at a very default location.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously.
Right there, top, and it sets it to the default minimum size as far as the text is concerned. Now we can click it as much as we want. We haven't told it to do anything when it's clicked.
So let's make it do something.
And just to show you about the stretching thing, with the default layout, it centers it. So if you want things to be stuck to the left or right or specified locations, you can change the layout, and we will cover that at a later, but not yet. Okay, so now we want it to do something when we click it. We're going to do this using Action Listener. Now there are lots of listeners. There are key listeners, which happen when you press a key, it's selected. There are mouse listeners. There's all sorts of stuff. Action listeners are, from my use of them, used with buttons mainly.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that happens when the button is clicked.
Obviously, we're creating an action listener.
And here you're going to want this to be a new action listener, but you're going to notice that it's going to be a problem here. You need to click this over here and click Implement All Abstract Methods.
Now, one of the places where you cannot start understanding why, if you had everything handled in that separate panel, why it would be somewhat less confusing.
And now here, this has the default unsupported operation. Not that.
Make sure you always delete that.
Yes.
Because it will
come back to haunt you.
Yes, it will.
Okay, now right here, we're going to use a outside method, just so this doesn't get too complicated. And now when this button is clicked, we're going to have the text change. So we're going to create a method called change text. Not very original, but... And then, we're going to... And then click this, it'll create a new method for us. Now, by default, it puts it in here. I want it in there. So we're just going to cut that, put it outside of here. There. For my thing quick, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to have it change the text. I'm going to have this again a little bit different from our starting code. I'm going to create a new integer to let us know which set the text is at. By default, it's going to be at 0. So we're going to have this be, I'm going to explain this a little bit after written out. We're going to have this in a switch statement. Memory fail. Text form.
There's probably about 10,000 ways you can do this next step. Switch is probably going to be one of the nicest, especially if you want 100,000 different text options.
Now, right here, it's at case 0. We're going to want it to set the text to, what's it right now? We have it set to hello world. So we're going to do b1, which is the name of the dot set text, and in here, we hello world. Okay, and now to make sure it doesn't treat the same thing every time, we're going to take text form and say equal to 1. So next time it cycles through, text form will be 1. So we need to have something happen different there. Okay, and now, when it's 1, we're going to set the text to, well, back to what it was before. b1 dot set text. Here is some text. And this time we go on back to text form 1. Sorry, 0. I said that wrong. Okay. Now, I don't think I missed anything. That is the wrong. 6. Okay, now it's going to run the code. Hopefully it doesn't throw any errors. We're going to click it, and there's change to hello world. Now we're going to click it again, and it'll switch back. Now, just to kind of show this works, we're going to change this to, and show you easy to add a third option. Just for sake of quickness, I'm going to leave this all in the same format later. If you're still learning, actually, yeah, I'm going to separate this. If you're still learning, you want to leave this separate while you're cleaning it even. And then text form. Now, I don't know if I've gone over this before. I think I have, but just to recap, just in case. Break makes sure that it doesn't go through this before. If we didn't have this, in some instances, it will execute this code and then go on to do this code as well.
Until it hits a break statement.
Yes. This can also be used to end if statements prematurely and for statements and stuff like that, in case if something happens, you have to stop doing that.
They great for when you're throwing an error, you want to break it then.
And now this should have 3 different text possibilities. We're running a little short on time. I don't know if we're going to be able to able to go through the built-in editor. Might go through that next.
Yeah, we can just go.
Okay, and as usual, the source code for this will be down in the description.
Now, this is for you. We can cover this in the next time too. What you try to do is you should try to use that whole button in that other class.
Yes, take this, put it over here, and then see if it'll still work. If it doesn't work, we can cover that a little bit next time, but it shouldn't be too difficult.
Nope.
And just kind of go through it in detail, but just to kind of show you how complicated GUIs can get. This is a different project that I'm working on. I've actually got it split into, well, quite a bit. This isn't actually real game code. We're going to expand everything and just kind of go through, and code gets pretty difficult. Now, let this intimidate you. After you listen, and if you code it yourself, it'll make a lot of sense. To kind of go through.
That's one of what, like 19 classes or something?
Oh god, I think it's more than that. This is a sneak peek for those of you that are following Rogue Panda. Yeah, that's how many classes I have right now. So, well, there you go. Some pretty basic GUI. This has been Alan Oden.
Dalton here.
Happy coding.
May the code be with you.
Ooh, almost forgot. Next week, what are we going to do?
We're going to go over some of the builder.
Oh, yep. We should the built-in GUI editor for NetBeans.
And that won't take long, and then we'll continue on some more hard code, making this more and more complex. I mean,
we're going to add probably add some, maybe a couple more buttons. Maybe we might even cover an image or two.
Might as well J-labels and how to actually make a label a button.
Yeah, I'm going to put off images for a while. We're going to do some other buttons, some extremely simple layouts, and J-labels, and how to turn them into buttons. Okay. Anyways, until next time, happy programming.
May the code be with you.